Romance of the Three Kingdoms, Chapter 44.
Let's set the scene. We're talking about a real existential crisis for the Wu Kingdom.
Yeah.
The sources, they paint this really vivid picture. Cao Cao leading this army, maybe 1 million strong, they say.
1 million. Wow.
Well, that's the estimate. He's reached Hanjiang. And he sends this message. It's sort of disguised as an invitation, like, let's go hunting together in Jiangxia.
Oh, subtle.
Not really. It's pretty thin.
Yeah.
The real message is clear. Surrender now.
And this just throws their leader, Quan, the Lord of Wu, into a complete tailspin. Our sources say he's deeply conflicted, just can't make the call, war or give in.
Yeah, he's really caught, totally unable to decide.
A classic rock and a hard place situation.
Exactly. And this is where his mother, Lady Wu, steps in. She gives him some, well, truly critical wisdom, advice that basically sets things in motion. She reminds Sun Quan of what his older brother, Sun Si, said right before he died. And it was incredibly prophetic, really.
What was it?
Internal matters, ask Zhang Zhao. External matters, ask Zhu Yu.
Oh.
It's not just, motherly advice. It's a strategic directive, a legacy.
Which gets Sun Quan moving, right? He immediately sends for Zhu Yu.
He does. But what's amazing, as you said, is that Zhu Yu is basically already there, before the messenger even leaves.
That's incredible timing. Or foresight.
He'd been training his navy down at Poyang Lake, heard about Cao Cao's advance, and just rushed back to Chaisang on his own initiative.
Wow. He knew what was coming.
Seems like it.
Yeah.
So his close friend and advisor, Lu Su, meets him first, gives him the full rundown.
That's a briefing.
Yeah, the whole situation. And Lu Su specifically mentions that Liu Bei's strategist, the famous Zhuge Liang or Kong Ming.
The Zhuge Liang, okay.
He's there, seeking an alliance. And Lu Su is really pushing Zhu Yu, like, you need to meet this guy. He sees the potential there.
But then Zhu Yu does something unexpected, doesn't he? He doesn't just rush into a meeting or declare his own position.
No, not at all. And this is where you really start to see his mind work. It's like a master class unfolding.
Okay, how so?
Instead of just, laying out his plan, he systematically goes around and meets with all the different factions within the Wu court, one by one.
Why? What was he trying to achieve by doing that? Just gathering info?
It's more than just info, I think. It's like he's taking the temperature of the court, gauging the emotional state, the political winds.
Right. Okay.
So first, he meets the ones advocating surrender.
Yeah.
Mostly the scholars, right? Song Zhao, Gu Yong, Zhang Hong, Bu Zi.
The let's be realistic faction.
Pretty much. Their argument is straightforward. Look, Cao Cao's army is overwhelming. Surrendering now saves Jiandong from disaster. It's the quote-unquote rational path.
Okay, so Zhao Yu listens to them. And then what's his brilliant move? He doesn't tip his hand, does he?
Not even slightly. He pretends to completely agree with them.
No way.
Yeah. He tells them, basically, you know what? I've been thinking about surrendering for a long time, too.
He says that.
He does.
Yeah.
He just sends them away. Tells them to come back the next morning for the final decision.
Wow. He's playing this incredibly close to the chest, giving absolutely nothing away.
Nothing. It's fascinating how he uses the same tactic again, isn't it?
Yeah. Is he just buying time? Or is there something specific he's trying to read from the generals that requires this act? Because next up are the fight to the death guys, the generals.
Oh, he's definitely testing their resolve. No question.
Yeah.
These are the guys who've been in the trenches, right? Cheng Pu, Huang Gai, Han Dang, battle-hardened veterans.
We're not going to like the sound of surrender.
Like it. They're absolutely furious. They remind him, we fought for decades alongside Sun Quan's father and brother to build this kingdom. The 6 commanderies of Jiangdong. That's their heartland, their legacy.
You can feel the passion there.
Totally. And Huang Gai's outburst is apparently intense. He says something like, my head can be cut off, but I swear I will not surrender to Cao.
Ooh.
You can almost feel the energy in that room, just pure determination. They're ready to die fighting.
So Zhu Yu hears this, and again, he mirrors them.
Exactly. He switches his stance completely. He tells them, I was just about to fight to the death with Cao Cao myself. How could I possibly surrender?
He's really playing everyone.
He is. And then he dismisses them too. Same line. Come back tomorrow, I'll have the final decision with the Lord.
It sounds almost manipulative, doesn't it? Is there a risk this could backfire if they find out he's telling different groups different things?
Oh, absolutely. There's always a risk with something this cunning. But you seem to understand the psychology here. He's not just deceiving them. He's observing. He needs to see who's really committed deep down and who's just, looking for an easy way out or maybe just saying what they think he wants to hear.
Okay, so he's sorting the wheat from the chaff, in a way.
Something like that. Then finally, he meets with the mixed voices, other officials, like Zhuge Jin.
Who is Zhu Ziliang's older brother, right? That adds another layer.
It does, and Lu Fian is there too. Zhuge Jin, for instance, he kind of leans towards surrender, saying something like, surrendering is easy to be peaceful, fighting is hard to guarantee safety.
Implying surrender is the safer bet.
Yeah, basically. Other officials have various opinions, debating back and forth. Fight. Surrender.
And Zhu Yu's response to this group, still playing it cool.
Totally enigmatic.
Yeah.
He just cuts them off politely. No need for more talk now. Come to the manor tomorrow. We'll discuss it publicly.
Okay, so he's met everyone. He's heard all the arguments. He's played his part.
And the sources tell us, after all these meetings, Zhu Yu just lets out this cold laugh.
That's a cold laugh. That's so telling, isn't it?
It really is. It's like he's just solved this incredibly complex puzzle. He's been playing chess with human emotions and political factions.
And he thinks he's won.
It signals he has a clear plan. He successfully figured out who stands where, what motivates them. He knows the landscape now.
Which sets the stage perfectly for the confrontation with Lu Su.
Exactly. Lu Su brings Zhu Ziliang to meet Zhu Yu, remember?
Right, the potential ally.
But Lu Su is still under the impression Zhu Yu actually plans to surrender, because Zhu Yu told the scholars he did.
Ah, right. Lu Su heard that version.
So when Zhu Yu confirms this plan to Lu Su still acting, of course, Lu Su is just stunned, absolutely floored.
You can imagine. He respects Zhu Yu so much.
And he launches into this desperate, really passionate appeal. He challenges Zhu Yu directly. Reminds him of Sun Tzu's dying wish, external matters, asks Zhu Yu.
Calling on that legacy again.
He argues, look, Jiangdong's foundation, it's lasted 3 generations. We can't just throw it away now. He practically begs Zhu Yu not to follow the council of cowards.
Wow. Strong words.
Very. And this, right here, is Zhu Yu's final test. Especially for Lu Su. He needs to know if Lu Su's conviction is real.
So he pushes back, even though he secretly agrees with Lu Su.
Yes. He gives Lu Su this fake rationale for surrendering. He says, look, if we fight and it brings disaster to the 6 commanderies, all the blame will fall on me.
Testing Lu Su's loyalty, seeing if he'll back down under pressure.
Exactly. Will Lu Su waver when faced with Zhu Yu's supposed fear and self-interest?
But Lu Su doesn't waver, does he?
Not for a second. He counters immediately, vigorously. He talks up Zhu Yu's heroism, reminds him of Eastern Wu's strategic advantages, the river defenses. He insists Cao won't succeed easily.
He passes the test.
With flying colors. It's clear Lu Su is all in for fighting. He's proven his loyalty and his resolve to Zhu Yu.
Okay, so tension's high. Then Kong Ming steps in. Zhu Bileng, Liu Bei's famous strategist, he's been quiet up till now.
Right. And when they ask him what he thinks, given how calm he seems, he just sort of coolly says Lu Su is, out of touch for resisting surrender so hard.
Wow. That's quite an opening. Talk about stirring the pot.
It really is. He's not just poking fun, though. It feels like he's setting something up. Then he actually doubles down. Says surrender to Cao Cao is, quote, very reasonable.
Reasonable? How does he even justify that?
Well, his logic, or the logic he presents anyway, is all about Cao Cao's military record. He just lists off Cao Cao's victories, right? Lu Bu crushed him. Yuan Shao gone. Yuan Shu, Lu Biao, all defeated. He paints Cao Cao is unstoppable.
So he's making it sound like the practical choice, the sensible thing to do.
Exactly. Preserve your family, keep your wealth. And he throws in this idea of heaven's mandate, shifting Gozokanyi, basically saying, look, power changes hands. It's just how it is. It's destiny. Why fight it?
Almost fatalistic. I can just picture Lu Su listening to this. The text says he was greatly enraged.
Oh, yeah. He basically accuses Kong Ming of trying to teach their lord to kneel before a traitor. It's a huge insult.
Which you suspect is exactly what Kong Ming wanted. Perfect setup.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Because right after pushing Lu Su to the edge, Kong Ming does a complete 180. He says, okay, forget surrendering. I have a simple plan. A way to make Cao Cao's whole army just turn around and leave. No fight, no surrender needed.
A simple plan. After all that talk about Cao Cao being unstoppable.
Yeah, sounds too good to be true, right? He says all they need to do is send 2 people across the river. Just 2 people, small boat. That's it.
2 people? Who? And how could that possibly work?
He's very casual about it. Says losing these 2 people would be like a large tree losing a leaf or a granary losing a grain. Basically insignificant to them, to Jiangdong.
Okay, that sounds dismissive.
Completely dismissive. But then he says, for Cao Cao, Getting these two people would make him greatly pleased, so pleased he'd just pack up his 1,000,000 soldiers and go home.
That contrast is stark. Worthless to them, priceless to Cao Cao. So, who are they? This is where it gets interesting, right?
This is the hook. Kong Ming finally reveals them. Da Qiao and Xiao Qiao, the daughters of Duke Qiao.
Ah, the famous Qiao sisters, renowned for their beauty.
Legendary beauty. The text uses all that classic poetic language, fish sinking, geese falling, moon hiding, flower shaming, basically saying they were stunningly beautiful.
And Kong Ming connects this directly to Cao Cao.
Directly. He brings up Cao Cao's, let's say, reputation, his fondness for beautiful women, and specifically this huge, magnificent palace he just built, the Bronze Sparrow platform. Kong Ming claims it was built specifically to house women like the Qiao sisters.
Okay, so Cao Cao likes beautiful women, builds a fancy palace. That's maybe not enough to stop an invasion, is it?
But then Kong Ming adds the clincher. He talks about Cao Cao's personal oaths, his deepest desires. Apparently, Cao Cao swore two things. First, unify the empire, standard warlord ambition.
Right.
But his second wish, the really personal one, to get the two Qiao sisters, to have them with him in his later years. Kong Ming quotes Cao Cao as saying he'd die without regret if he got them.
Wow. So Kong Ming is claiming this entire massive military campaign, this 1,000,000-man army. It's basically all about Cao Cao wanting these two specific women.
That's the bombshell accusation, yes. Yeah. He says the invasion is primarily driven by this personal obsession. It almost reframes the entire conflict.
And his proposed simple plan is just give them to him.
Pretty much. Buy them, he suggests, maybe for 1,000 pieces of gold, send them over. He even compares it to an old story, Fan Li sending Shi to weaken a rival king, using beauty as a weapon, essentially.
Okay, that's quite a claim. How does Zhu Yu react to this? He must demand some proof, right? How could Kong Ming possibly know Cao Cao's secret desires?
Exactly. Zhu Yu asks, what proof do you have? He's not just going to accept this wild story.
So Kong Ming's evidence.
This is where it gets really clever. Kong Ming doesn't offer, like, a spy report or a captured letter. He cites poetry. Specifically, Cao Cao's own son, Cao Zi, who was a famous poet, wrote a piece called the Bronze Sparrow Platform Rhapsody.
A poem celebrating the new palace?
Yes, a public piece meant to be grand and celebratory. But Kong Ming claims that hidden within this rhapsody are clues. Hints that Cao Cao's family is destined for emperorship, and an explicit mention of wanting the two keys.
He finds a hidden meaning in a public poem. That's quite interpretive.
Very. And the way he presents it is masterful. He says, he just happened to admire the poem's literary beauty and secretly memorized it. Very casual.
Convenient.
Then he recites the key line, supposedly from memory. Yurier Cao Yu Jinyan si lezosh gizi ingong.
Which means?
Roughly. Embracing the two Caos from the southeast, enjoying their company day and night. Direct, specific, and crucially mentions southeast, which is where the Qiao sisters were from, and where Zhu Yu's forces were based.
Oof, that line lands like a ton of bricks, I imagine.
Instantly. The text says Zhu Yu just burst into a rage, jumps up, points north towards Cao Cao's territory, and curses him. That old thief is bullying me too much. It's immediate visceral fury. Kong Ming hit the perfect nerve.
And Kong Ming pretends to be surprised.
Oh, completely. He tries to calm Zhu Yu down, saying things like, sometimes you have to make sacrifices for peace, even mentioning how Han emperors used to give princesses to the Xiongnu tribes to avoid war.
Like that's gonna help now.
Exactly. It's almost rubbing salt in the wound, because then Zhu Yu drops his own bombshell.
This is the big reveal, isn't it?
It is. Zhu Yu, still furious, reveals why that line hit so hard. Da Qiao, the elder sister. She's the widow of Sun Si, who was Sun Quan's elder brother, and Zhu Yu's close friend and former leader.
Okay, so that's a connection.
But the other one, Xiao Qiao. She's Zhu Yu's own wife.
There it is. Cao Cao isn't just planning to take some random beautiful women. He's specifically targeting Zhu's wife and his late friend's widow.
Precisely. The insult is intensely personal. And Kong Ming, he feigns absolute shock. Oh my goodness, I had no idea. I spoke so carelessly. Death is my punishment. Total performance. He knew exactly whose wives they were.
Masterful manipulation. He provoked Zhu Yu using Cao Cao's alleged desires, but the real trigger was the deep personal connection Zhu Yu had.
Absolutely. And Zhu Yu's reaction now is decisive. No more hesitation. He declares flat out, I cannot coexist with that old thief. The debate is over.
And he admits the earlier talk of surrender was just, a test.
Yes, he confesses. He says he was just testing Kong Ming's commitment, seeing if he genuinely advised surrender. But Zhu Yu insists his own mind was made up long ago.
Since when?
He says ever since he left Poyang Lake, he was determined to attack Cao Cao. His resolve, he claims, was firm all along, wouldn't change, even as threatened by axe and halberd.
So Kongming didn't change his mind, but he gave him the final push and perhaps the public justification he needed, and crucially, cemented the alliance.
Cemented the alliance, absolutely.
Yeah.
Zhu Yu then directly asks Kongming, I need your help to defeat Cao Cao.
And Kongming, mission accomplished, humbly accepts.
Humbly accepts, pledges his full support. They agree to go see their lord, Sun Quan, the very next day to formalize the plan and start the military preparations. The trap was sprung, the alliance secured.
In Sun Quan's court, you've got all the officials, civil and military, gathered together. The tension is palpable. Everyone's looking at Sun Quan.
And he's clearly torn, deeply undecided. Then his chief commander, Zhu Yu, arrives on the scene.
Zhu Yu. And suddenly he becomes the focus, right? The one everyone's been waiting for.
Yeah, right. Sun Quan doesn't waste any time. He turns straight to Zhou Yu, asking for his take. And the reason for all this tension, it's this formal letter from Cao Cao, a sikawen. Think of it like a formal declaration, but often really demanding, maybe even insulting. And this one claims Cao Cao has this enormous army and just demands surrender.
Wow. And Zhou Yu's reaction is pretty telling, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. He reads it and he laughs, but it's not amusement. It's indignation, pure outrage.
Yeah.
He basically says, that old scoundrel thinks Jiangdong has no capable men. How dare he insult us like this?
That's quite a statement. It shows Cao Cao isn't just demanding surrender. He's using psychological tactics, trying to undermine their confidence right from the start.
Precisely. And Sun Quan admits he's been wrestling with this indecision for days. He's heard arguments for surrender, arguments for war. He says to Zhou Yu directly, my mind isn't settled. I need you to help me make a definitive resolution.
Okay, so someone has to make the case for surrender first. Who steps up?
That falls to Zhang Zhao.
Yeah.
And he lays out a very pragmatic, rational argument, point by point. First, he points out Cao Cao has the emperor under his thumb. He's using the imperial name to legitimize everything he does.
Which is a huge advantage politically.
A massive advantage.
Yeah.
Then Zhang Zhao highlights that Cao Cao just took over Jingzhou. This massively increases his power, his resources, his manpower.
And didn't he mention the river, Jiangdong's main defense?
Exactly. He emphasizes that their primary defense has always been the Yangtze River. But now he says Cao Cao has, and he uses this number, hundreds of thousands of warships. And his troops are coming by land and water.
So the argument is basically the river won't save us this time.
Pretty much. Zhang Zhao asks, how can we possibly withstand this? His advice is straightforward. Surrender now. Let's plan for later. It's presented as the only sensible way to survive.
It sounds logical, almost unavoidable when you lay it out like that. So how does Zhu Yu, this decisive commander, respond to that kind of counsel? Does he see the logic?
He sees it, but he rejects it completely. He immediately shoots it down, calls it a pedantic scholar's argument, just dismisses it out of hand. He makes his passionate point about Jiangdong, how Sun Quan's father and an older brother built it over 3 generations. He says they simply cannot bear to just discard it like that.
Okay, so pure defiance. But defiance needs a strategy, right? This is where Zhu Yu really shines, isn't it? He pivots to the reasons for war.
Yes, and it's brilliant. First, he reframes the whole thing. He strips away Cao Cao's legitimacy. He's not the Han Chancellor acting for the emperor. He's a Han traitor, a rebel. That changes the moral calculus immediately.
Right, shifts the narrative. Then he gets into the military specifics.
Exactly. He starts breaking down Cao Cao's apparent strength, pointing out 4 critical military taboos, basically. Major strategic errors that Cao Cao has committed. First one, Cao Cao's home base up north. It's not actually stable. He's got threats like Matang and Han Sui potentially at his back, yet he's pushing this long campaign way down south. Classic overextension.
Leaving his rear exposed. Okay, what's number 2?
Number 2 is crucial for this specific conflict. His northern troops are just not used to fighting on water. Zhu Yu points out they've given up their horses, their strength, to fight on ships. That's a huge disadvantage against the Eastern Wu Navy, who are experts at riverine warfare.
Like asking cavalry to suddenly become sailors. Makes sense. What else?
Third, the timing. It's deep winter. Horses need fodder, which is scarce. This really weakens Cao Cao's cavalry, a major part of his force.
Okay, environmental factors. And the 4th point?
Troop condition. These soldiers from central China, they've traveled a huge distance. They're not used to the southern climate, the water. Zhu Yu says they're getting sick. Widespread illness is setting in. Fatigue is a major issue.
So Zhu Yu's conclusion from all this?
It's devastatingly effective.
Yeah.
He says despite the massive numbers Cao Cao claims, his army is actually weak right now because of these specific problems. He even confidently states that capturing Cao Cao himself is possible right at this moment.
Wow. So from seemingly invincible to fundamentally flawed, and what does he ask for? Does he need a huge army to counter Cao Cao's supposed millions?
No, and that's key. He just asks for tens of thousands of elite soldiers, a much smaller, manageable force to lead the attack at Xiakou. He believes quality and strategy can overcome flawed quantity.
This must have had a huge impact on Sun Quan.
Oh, absolutely. You see a visible shift. Sun Quan exclaims that Cao Cao has always wanted to usurp the Han throne, and now, with other rivals mostly gone, only he, Sun Quan, stands in the way. He makes this powerful vow, I will never coexist with Cao Cao. And then comes that really dramatic moment.
The desk.
Yes, he draws his sword and he chops off a corner of the wooden desk in front of him, declares that anyone who dares speak of surrender again will end up just like that desk corner.
Whoa. Talk about a powerful symbol. That's not just talk, that's burning the bridges to retreat, making a very public, very physical commitment.
It's incredibly effective. And it's not just symbolic. He immediately gives that very sword to Zhu Yu, appoints a Grand Commander. Cheng Pu is made Deputy Commander. Lu Su becomes the Staff Officer. And he explicitly tells Zhu Yu, use this sword to execute any officer who disobeys your orders. Full authority granted.
So Zhu Yu gets the mandate he needs. What does he do first?
He acts immediately. No delay. He orders all officials, everyone, to report to the riverbank camp the very next day. And he lays down the law. He emphasizes how strict his command will be, saying any delays will be punished according to the 7 prohibitions and 54 executions. Basically, military law at its harshest. The message is crystal clear. Debate's over, time for action. Serious, uncompromising action.
You'd think that would be it. Decision made, commander empowered, orders given.
Case closed, right?
You would think. But here's where it gets really interesting, psychologically. Later, Zhu Yu meets with Zhu Ziyang, who's been observing all this, and Zhu Ziyang, with this incredible insight, points something out.
What does he say? He says, despite everything that happened in court, despite the sword and the desk and the strong words, Sun Quan's heart is not yet steady.
Really? Even after that display, what did Zhu Ziyang see?
He pinpointed the underlying issue. Sun Quan was still, deep down, intimidated by the sheer number of Cao Cao's troops. That headline figure, the millions or hundreds of thousands, was still nagging at him. He was worried about being overwhelmed.
So the public resolve didn't completely kill the private fear. What does Zhu Ziyang advise?
He wisely tells Zhu Yu, you need to go back. You need to clarify the actual numbers for him. To really fully reassure him, it shows that just a dramatic gesture might not be enough if there's a lingering factual fear, especially about something as concrete as troop numbers.
Fascinating. So Zhu Yu goes back to Sun Quan.
Yes, for a second, more private meeting. And Sun Quan basically admits it. He confesses he's still worried about Cao Cao's huge army, the sheer scale of it.
And this is where Zhu Yu plays his final, crucial card, dispelling the illusion.
Exactly. This is where he pulls back the curtain. He reveals the truth behind Cao Cao's boast of millions. He breaks it down. Cao Cao's own core troops from central China, maybe 150,000, 160,000 tops. And, crucially, they're already exhausted from previous campaigns.
Okay, still a lot, but not millions. What about the rest?
The troops he absorbed from defeating the Yuan clan. Zhu Yu estimates that's only another 70,000 or 80,000. And importantly, many of those soldiers are still uncertain, maybe even disloyal. They haven't fully integrated.
So the reality is, Cao Cao's army isn't this unified, invincible behemoth. It's a mix of tired veterans and a large chunk of unreliable, newly conquered forces.
Precisely. Instead of maybe 1 million, the effective, loyal, and rested fighting force is far, far smaller. Suddenly, the picture changes dramatically.
It goes from overwhelming odds to manageable.
Manageable, exactly. Zhu Yu then confidently reiterates his earlier point. Give me just 50,000 elite troops and I can defeat this actual force. Not the inflated number, but the real weaker one.
And how does Sun Quan react to this revelation?
This is what finally does it. Complete relief washes over him. Renewed confidence. The text says he pats Zhu Yu on the back. He praises Zhu Yu and Lu Su, saying they think alike, that they understand the situation, and he criticizes Zhang Zhao again, calling his earlier advice ill-advised.
So the fear based on the big number is finally gone.
Completely gone. And he makes his final, unwavering pledge of support. He says, okay, deploy the troops immediately, I'll keep the supplies coming. And then he adds the ultimate backup. If your frontline forces run into trouble, you can fall back. I myself will personally lead the main army into a decisive battle with Cao Cao.
Oh.
All his doubts are finally truly assuaged. Fear has turned into resolve. Zhou Yu. He's just left Sun Quan, the ruler of Eastern Wu,
Yeah.
and the source says he's walking out, kind of thinking to himself, and it hits him. Kong Ming already knew what Sun Quan was going to decide, knew he'd side with Liu Bei against Cao Cao.
Right, he'd been completely outplayed. And Zhu Yu's reaction is, well, it's immediate and pretty visceral. Here's this top-tier strategist, right? And he sees Kong Ming's brilliance not just as, like, a challenge, but as a serious long-term threat to his side, to Eastern Wu.
So his first thought isn't strategy, it's...
But elimination. His immediate drastic thought is, Kong Ming has to go, we need to get rid of him.
Wow.
And that, I mean, that shows you something, doesn't it? How that perceived threat from someone maybe just as smart as you in a moment of frustration can just overshadow everything else, the immediate strategic needs.
It's like ego getting in the way.
Exactly. Ego potentially messing up the whole plan. It's a classic blind spot.
And he was serious. He actually calls Lu Su, like, middle of the night, to talk about killing Kong Ming.
He does, but thankfully for Kong Ming, and probably for Zhu Yu too, Lu Su steps in. He provides that crucial, cooler head.
What does he say?
Well, Lu Su's advice is spot on. He basically argues, look, Cao Cao is still this massive threat right on our doorstep. Getting rid of an ally as skilled as Kong Ming right now, that's self-sabotage.
Makes sense.
So instead, he suggests something really clever. Use Kong Ming's own elder brother, Zhu Gejin, who's already serving Eastern Wu, to try and persuade Kong Ming to switch sides.
The diplomatic approach. Or maybe manipulative approach.
Maybe a bit of both. But it's definitely smarter than assassination at this point. It's using psychology, family ties, instead of just violence. And Zhu Yu, to his credit, actually listens. He agrees, puts aside the personal feelings for now, for the bigger picture.
Okay, so Kong Ming is safe for the moment. And Zhu Yu shifts gears, right? Back to the main job, getting ready to fight Cao Cao.
Exactly. And this next part, it really highlights his strengths as a leader, his military skill.
How so?
Well, the scene is set pretty dramatically. You picture Zhu Yu in his main army tent, sitting up high, guards with swords and axes all around him. He's gathered all his officials, civil and military. It's a real show of authority.
Power move.
Definitely. But, like you often find, there's politics bubbling underneath.
Oh.
Yeah, there's this older general, Cheng Pu, very respected, but he's clearly annoyed that Zhu Yu, who's younger, outranks him.
So what does he do?
He pulls a bit of a passive-aggressive move, sends his son, Cheng Zi, instead, claiming he's sick. It's a subtle challenge, testing Zhu Yu.
How does Yu handle that?
Masterfully. Doesn't even acknowledge the slight directly. Instead, he gives this powerful speech to everyone there. He hammers home the importance of strict military law. Wang fa wu kin is the phrase used.
Meaning?
Meaning the law doesn't play favorites. No special treatment for anyone, regardless of connections. He stresses total impartiality and, importantly, that the troops mustn't disturb the civilians.
Setting clear boundaries.
Absolutely. Rewards and punishments will be fair, applied equally. He's laying down the law, making it clear who's in charge and what the standards are. It's not just talk. It's about setting the tone.
And then comes the actual war plan, the deployment.
Right. And it's not just you go here, you go there. It's like an orchestration, as you said earlier. He systematically assigns roles. Han Dang and Huang Gai lead the first vanguard.
Then Jiang Qin and Zhu Tai.
Exactly. Ling Tong and Pan Zhang, the third team. Tai Shi Qi and Lu Meng, fourth. Lu Sun and Dong Shi, fifth. It's incredibly organized.
It doesn't stop there, does it?
No. Beyond the main combat units, he appoints Lu Fan and Zhu Ji as patrol officers. Their job. Mobilize troops from 6 different areas, coordinate both land and water forces, all by a strict deadline.
Wow. That's detailed.
It's meticulous. It shows incredible foresight. He's thinking about logistics, coordination, timing, the whole picture. It's almost like military architecture.
So what happens with Cheng Pu, the general who is initially snubbing him?
Well, his son, Cheng Zi, goes back and tells him everything, describes how incredibly organized and lawful Zhou Yu's command is, how every action was within the law, is the quote.
And that changes things.
Completely. Cheng Pu's scorn just melts away. He's genuinely impressed. He admits Zhu Yu is a true military talent.
So he was won over by competence.
Exactly. And then Cheng Pu actually goes to the camp himself to apologize. And Zhu Yu accepts it humbly. It's a brilliant example of earning respect through action, not just rank. He turned dissent into admiration just by being good at his job.
Okay, so military matters are getting sorted. But Zhu Yu hasn't forgotten about Kong Ming, has he?
Not a chance. Now he makes his next move, another subtle one. He calls for Zhu Gaijin, Kong Ming's older brother.
The one Lu Su suggested using earlier.
Precisely. And Zhu Yu starts by praising Kong Ming. Calls him someone with Wang Zuji, basically, the talent to be a king's top advisor. High praise, especially from a rival.
Buttering him up.
Maybe a little. Then he gives Zhu Gaijin the mission. Go persuade your brother to ditch Liu Bei and come join us here in Eastern Wu.
Talk about putting someone in a tough spot. Family versus loyalty to his current lord.
Incredibly difficult. The source says Zhu Gaijin stresses his loyalty to Sun Quan first, but agrees to do it. You can imagine the conflict he must be feeling.
So he goes to meet Kong Ming.
Yes, they meet at a post station. And the reunion is described as tearful. You know, catching up, real family connection for a moment.
Before the politics kicks back in.
Exactly. Zhu Gaijin then makes his case. He uses this famous classical story about two brothers, Bo Yi and Shu Qi, who chose principle over serving a new dynasty, starving together.
What's the point he's making?
He's appealing to king emotion, family bonds, saying, look, we're brothers, we should be together, serving the same cause.
Makes sense, emotionally. But this is Kong Ming we're talking about.
Right. And here's where Kong Ming's genius just, well, flips the whole thing. He clearly sees Zhu Yu's hand behind this whole mission.
He knows it's not just his brother asking.
Oh, absolutely. So he acknowledges the emotional point the king his brother raised, but then he counters with the higher principle. Yi, righteousness, duty.
How does he use that?
Brilliantly, he says, okay, we're brothers, that's king, but we're also Han people, right? And Liu Bei, my lord, is related to the Han emperor. Serving him is the righteous thing to do, the Yi thing.
Ah, I see where this is going.
So he turns it completely around. He tells Zhu Gaijin, if you really want to fulfill both king, family unity, and Yi, righteous duty, you should leave Eastern Wu and join me in serving Liu Bei, the legitimate Han descendant.
Whoa, that's bold.
It completely pulls the rug out from under Zhu Gaijin. He appealed based on family. Kong Ming countered with family plus overriding duty to the rightful cause.
What does Zhu Jin do?
He's speechless, totally outmaneuvered. The source says he just leaves without another word. Imagine that silence.
Ouch. So he has to go back to Zhu Yu.
Yep. He reports everything back, explains Kong Ming's argument, but he also makes sure to reaffirm his own loyalty to Sun Quan. Smart move, probably.
And Zhu Yu's reaction to this failure?
He's clearly annoyed the plan didn't work, but his determination doesn't waver. He just says, basically, okay, fine, I have another plan to deal with Kong Ming.
So the rivalry continues. The mind games aren't over.
Not by a long shot, it just sets the stage for the next round.
It kind of perfectly captures that old saying from the source, doesn't it? Let me see.
Right. Which basically translates to something like, when wit meets wit, they should ideally combine, but when talent clashes with talent, they often can't coexist.
That nails it. You see two brilliant minds who should be focused solely on the common enemy, Cao Cao.
But their own rivalry, their own genius, maybe their egos, get in the way. It becomes its own conflict.